diferente como me enseñaron hace quizás 10 años. Hay que poner en ese tono. Pero igual como antes, los resultados no cambian, ¿no? Estamos sumando, estamos restando, obviamente estamos restando. Si estamos multiplicando, obviamente también vamos a seguir multiplicando. Entonces, los resultados no cambian, solamente el modo en que hacemos los problemas ha cambiado un poquito. I don't know if you have anything to say to the group before we start.
Good morning in here. That's pretty much about it. I'm ready to learn. I got my like okay, what are you doing?
Okay, let's do this.
And good morning, I'm Ms. Rubin, the other instructional strategist. We are always grateful for parents to take the time to really dive deep. He's a wonderful trainer from the district, and he's going to show you a lot of. We already started having discussions about all of the different ways to solve a multiplication problem that is different from the way that we learn. So learning what your kids are learning in school is imperative to be able to help them and support them. So we are grateful that you guys are all here. So thank you.
So glad to. Multiplication will be on the 10th, so if you're available and you're able to come by, remember December 10th will be the day that we'll be doing the multiplication one. And then division will be February 12th. And then I don't know if they'll schedule any more, but if they do, they'll let me know. I know that.
Do you have more?
I think we have one more, 1, 2.
Then we want you.
We did create a fraction one because there was so much need.
All right, then March 10th.
We'll check our calendar. We'll let them know exactly what day that's going to be. So el mes que viene va a ser de multiplicación, cómo multiplicamos ahorita en nuevo tiempo, luego división y luego vamos a hacer fracciones dependiendo si podemos poner otros días en el calendario. Como dicen ellas, trabajo para el distrito. Normalmente lo que hago es que voy y hago este tipo de presentaciones, o realmente soy maestro de maestros, ¿no? Soy un strategist igual como ellas, más que en el nivel del distrito solamente. Subtraction y number sense. Now, siempre hemos empezado todas estas juntas. We always start our lessons with which one doesn't belong. And igual como siempre, la idea es de que buscar por qué cada número o uno de los cuadritos por qué no pertenece. Entonces, obviamente, aquí estamos viendo 4 dados y queremos dar una explicación por qué uno de los dados no pertenece para el grupo. Igual como con sus alumnos, y just with the same as with your kids, you know, we want to know, we want them to use math, but sometimes they may not be fluent in math enough, where they can just tell us something that they observe just by colors or whatever it is. The goal is to have a very low entry point so they can start talking about math and thinking about math and maybe wonder about certain things about it. So I'll give you some time and just kind of look at each one and we kind of try to find a reason why they don't belong. So tenemos que ver cada uno de los cuadritos y que nos pueda decir por qué uno no pertenece al grupo, ¿no? Y cada cuadrito puede tener una razón o 2 razones, dependiendo de cómo usted lo vea. So wait. Why do we have name tags?
They are, there's a name tag that you probably can't see.
No, I know the other sites will start putting
Yes.
cardboard stock.
Okay.
That's for next time.
Oh, that's
Just so I
a good
can
idea.
yell at people.
Okay, gotcha.
Quería llamar al nombre, pero estamos. Okay, you have one? Okay. ¿Y su nombre, perdón?
Claudia.
Claudia, a ver.
The 8th one?
Este?
Yeah, that's an even.
It's an even. Todos los demás son odd. ¿No? Este es 3, 5, 11.
No,
Odd, y el único que no pertenece sería el even. No es el único, solamente es una de las razones que me están dando ahorita. Yes.
Maybe the 3 because it doesn't have a second digit, it's just by 0.
Because it has a 0. Okay. And right away, kids can look at it and say, this one, all of them, you have a number on the bottom, and this one doesn't have it. And that would be an acceptable one. Good morning. Your principal's here. I don't know if she has, you want to say something to the group before we continue?
Thank you for coming.
All
No,
right.
I'm so happy you guys are here.
All right, well, good.
That's it, and thank you, Mr. Espinoza.
You're welcome anytime. All right, how about another one? Does anybody have a different reason?
The top right has more than 10 and the other ones have less than 10.
There you go. And again, if they're little and they're learning how to count, these would be great ways for kids to count right away. And remember, we want them to look at patterns and be able to count quickly. So we don't want them to start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We know that, they could see doubles here right away and say 4 plus 4 is 8. Here they can see doubles plus one more. That's another strategy that we use in second and third grade. Serían quizás 5 y 5 y uno más, if they want to look at it that way. But normally we would ask the kid, how did you know that was more? What did you do? All of these other things. All right? Otra razón, solamente nos queda este. Y a veces es obvio y a veces no es obvio, ¿no? La razón por qué va a ser o no va a ser.
Are you gonna tell us?
I'm gonna wait. You know what? One of the things about here is always wait times. Hermanos, esperamos y a ver. Yes.
It's the same as the top one. It's like, it will be like 2 and 2, 4 plus 1 is 5.
Now, somebody said in another place, and I agree, somebody said, this is the only one where the number on top is smaller than the one on the bottom. Right? This is 2, and this is 3, this is 6, and this is 5. These are the same, but still not smaller. And then here, obviously, this is bigger than that. That's fine. It would have been fine. I mean, some of the kids started subtracting, because it sounds like you guys want to know what other sites did. They started subtracting, and they started subtracting here. So what happens when you get 6 minus 5? 6 minus 5, 1. And then over here, they got 2 minus 3, right?
Negative.
The kids were like, oh my God, that's different. Over here, they got 0. Again, giving you another reason what other students said. And over here, it would be 3, because it's 3 minus 0 is 3. So the only one that would give you a negative difference, or when you subtract, it gives you a negative, would be this one. And if they're little, I mean that's a very, very interesting concept, ¿no? En uno de los salones donde lo hicimos, nos preguntaron, nos dijeron, creo que este es el único que es negativo. Y dije yo, a ver, explíqueme por qué es negativo. Y empezó a restar, ¿no? 4 menos.
That was a child? Or
This was a child.
a child?
See?
What grade was it?
I believe that it was a 4th grade, right? Un niño de 4 años. Yo creo que obviamente el niño ya le han explicado de que hay veces que puedes deber dinero, ¿no? Tienes $2 y te gastaste 3, debes 1. Sería como lo explicó el muchachito. Pero el concepto realmente se desarrolla más en la secundaria, empezando de 6º, 7º, 8º año y continúa obviamente hasta la prepa y colegio. Ese sería un concepto que quizás muchos de nuestros alumnos tienen problemas, ¿no? Sumando y restando números negativos. Entonces, because you ask, what are the reasons that they give us? Those are some of the reasons they gave us for this.
Yo la verdad en mi país no fui a la primaria.
No se preocupe.
Eso ni siquiera lo había mirado. ¿Esos son negativos?
Sí, porque si tiene $2, ¿no?
Ajá.
Y gastó 3, ¿qué no va a deber 1?
Ajá, es que nunca, siempre lo había mirado el de arriba más grande y el de abajo. Y se lo ha mirado a mi niña y no sabía cómo ayudarle.
Es que en la primaria siempre nos concentramos de que aprendan a sumar y restar, ¿no? La idea de sumar y restar solamente. Ya llegando más a la secundaria, les enseñamos obviamente de que los números no nomás pueden ser positivos, sino que también pueden ser negativos. Uno puede empezar debiendo algo y cada vez que te dan un cheque estás quitándole de lo que debes, ¿no? Cada vez que uno paga un pago al carro, o a la casa o a lo que sea. Cada vez se va bajando lo que debes, el negativo. Entonces el número se va bajando despacito, pero va bajando cada mes hasta que al último se queda 0 o positivo.
In elementary, they always teach us to go with the big number first and subtract the small.
It's true, pero
But then middle school, high school is like algebra.
well, sí, yes, it is algebra. No quiere decir que, para mí álgebra es cuando estamos empezando a ver los variables, ¿no? Or when we see variables is where, algebra really comes in. Here we're just talking about the idea of adding and subtracting numbers. So most of the time, you get 3 minus 2, ¿no? Que agarras, obviamente, 1. Pero nosotros podríamos haber también dicho, porque este se dice, estamos quitando, ¿no? The whole idea of subtraction, this takeaway idea. So we could have said, I have 3 negatives, and I'm taking away 2 negatives. Así empezamos en la secundaria. En esta forma sería, tengo 3 negativos y voy a quitar 2 negativos, que sería quitar estos 2 negativos para afuera. ¿Cuántos me quedan? Me queda un negativo. Que sería, again, this is what we would do in secondary, starting from 6 on. But the operation doesn't change, that's what I'm trying to say here. La operación no ha cambiado, todavía estamos sumando o restando dependiendo los números que nos den. Pero a veces, ahorita a veces que los maestros quieren enseñarles trucos, ¿no? There are tricks that sometimes teachers try to teach our children, y en el truco es donde se confunde el niño, no en la idea de la operación, que sería lo más básico. Ajá, you have a question?
Is it just me or? I didn't learn about algebra like when I was in high school. And now I see in the homework, like 4th grade homework, algebraic expressions. I'm like, I didn't learn that until high school.
I think, well, this is just my understanding, I'm not the math whiz. I think the term algebra, we think of like this huge equation, but I think it breaks down to a simpler idea of finding an answer, if that makes sense. And so there might be some skills that they're doing in 4th grade that we may not think is algebra, but it's the basics, a basis. It's the building block, getting them to understanding how to get to that algebraic equation. And we talked, you mentioned, oh, well, in elementary school, they always tell us to start with the big number and take away the small number. And if we think about the building blocks of education, we start with letters, we go with, sounds they make, the phonics. Same thing's gotta happen with the numbers. Our kids have a hard enough time understanding addition and then subtraction. And then if we told them, well, guess what? It goes the other way. It goes backwards. There's a number beyond 0 the other way. So it takes a while for them to get there, but it is important as they get older for them to understand. There is a world behind 0 that they don't know about.
And we forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look, in elementary, también estamos viendo, we also look at problems like, there are 7 marbles, and I have 2. How many did Tim bring, for example? Because Tim and I are bringing marbles. But altogether they are 8, and I brought 2, so you have to bring how many? Or you're bringing 6, in other words. So that's how they disguise the algebra, this idea of there is a variable which is the unknown. I don't know how many Tina brought or Adan brought or Claudia brought, but I know that I can figure out if I add or subtract, multiply or divide or whatever the operation
So it's
is
the
after
same thing
this.
without the algorithm, basically.
That's right, there is an algorithm, but again, at the beginning, we don't want them to think about algebra and variables, we just want them to think about the situation. All together, we have this, I'm bringing this, how much do you need to bring? And the algorithm will be developed as it goes along. All right. So,
Which makes more sense, because I don't remember, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping
go
in.
ahead.
I don't really remember being explained that when I was in elementary school, like what we were doing was just, here's your word problem, so solve it. But I think had I been told, hey, we want to find X, how many did Tim bring? That's X. I think that would have helped me in high school as I really started to get with algebraic equations and finding X. It would have been helpful to have that more basic understanding than just here's a bunch of numbers and letters thrown together and ooh, because I remember I looked at it and I went, oh my God, what is this?
What is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, at the beginning, especially at this level, we don't want them to be complicated with, variables and, inverse operations and all this other stuff. We just want them to understand the problem, conceptually put some sort of picture together, and then at the end come up with whatever the answer is going to be. And they should be able to explain to you why the answer is what it is. Sometimes we do all these stuff in algebra where all we write is variables and write numbers and we say solve it, and you have to do all these operations and you're not even sure why you're doing what you're doing. But at the end, you know that the answer works because you can plug it back in. And when you plug it back in, you're like, see, it works, because that answer gives you the number that you needed. ¿No? A veces cuando estamos en álgebra hacemos muchas operaciones para agarrar resultado y al último ni sabemos si las operaciones que hicimos fueron correctas o no, hasta que revisamos si el número obviamente sirve o no sirve para la ecuación que nos dieron. Porque la ecuación puede ser lo que sea. Entonces es importante que en este nivel solamente se concentre más en los problemas, en las situaciones que le estamos dando, y el variable siempre viene adentro del problema, ¿no? ¿Cuántos traje yo? ¿Cuántos traje ella? ¿Cuántos sumamos? ¿Cuántos lápices son? Si ve cada problema que les están dando a los niños, word problems, cada uno.
Another observation.
You have one?
Did they just say, you might have just said this and I just got it while you said it. But is it 10 minus 1 equals 9? 10 minus 2 equals 8?
Order is important. So in this case, it is 10, all right, it goes in this direction. 10 minus whatever, let's say 2, the answer is 8. All right, it does go in a certain order. You can't go the other way, can you?
No.
No, if you go 2 minus 10, the answer is not 8, right? It would be negative 8. It would be negative 8.
Oh.
So, unlike addition where 3 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 3, right? They both give you the answer of 5. 3 minus 2 is not the same as 2 minus 3. That is a completely different answer. Right? So they hopefully they'll see the fact that the community of property does not apply for subtraction.
And I want to
Order
jump in
does
again,
matter.
because I like to talk apparently. I want you to understand, or at least maybe it's just me, but there is power in not telling the kids. There is a lot of power in letting them go. And then Dr. B was a great student. Oh, so it was this. That learning moment in a child is something that's going to stay with them in their brain because they discovered it. Oh, so you mean, oh, this is what it shows me. So much more than Mr. Espinoza just coming up and going, oh, well, look, if you look at the chart, it goes this, this, and this, and this. Because half the kids are tuned out. Not. Them discovering it on their own leaves a meaningful mark in their brain, their knowledge. It's there. So that's, and even at home, same thing. Notice and wonder.
Again, es lo que hemos practicado desde el comienzo. Dice que no decirle las respuestas, ¿no? Que hay que dejar que el niño obviamente nos pueda decir o explicarnos la razón. No, es muy importante. Porque quizás no lo ven la primera vez que vean el cuadrito, quizás lo van a ver una semana después, quizás un mes después, hasta un año después, no importa. El punto sería que a un cierto punto reconozcan estos tipos de patterns que existen, ¿no? Patronos, ¿no? Creo que se dice, ¿no? Entonces, lo más que ellos descubren, lo más que ellos lo van a tomar como que sería información que ellos se ganaron. Y van a tener una curiosidad de que siempre van a andar buscando patronos, ¿no? Patterns en cosas de esas. Porque las matemáticas todo está basado sobre eso. Siempre vemos patterns, luego de ahí ya hacemos una theorem o postulate dependiendo a lo que estamos observando. Otras cosas que quizás no hemos platicado, pero se notan.
Arriba, cuando empiezan los números, empiezan del 10 y son regresivos. Del 10 y del otro lado son
1 y luego hasta 10. That's cool. So it doesn't go 1 hasta 10 y luego 1 hasta 10. En eso estamos al revés. I agree. Very good. Anything else?
Did we already talk about going up that way? Did I miss that?
Going this way? Right. Todos esos son iguales también, igual como anteriormente.
I noticed something.
¿Verdad? Los ceros, los unos, los dos. You notice something? What you notice?
I noticed that as we go up, the numbers are all the same. It's a 0 for that whole diagonal row going
Right.
up. And then it's 1s, and then it's 2s.
And so,
I wonder if there's a pattern with subtraction that causes that.
now Lupita was telling me, I'm just using your first example, that in comparison to all the other, ones that we studied before, they were always a square. No, siempre a un cuadro. Pero en esta no es como un rectángulo, no? It's a rectangle here. So the question I asked her is, what's missing here? What's missing? That's what I asked. So I'll wait to see if somebody else can see it, because I know we talked about it. Uh-huh.
It's missing now the negative number.
All the negative numbers are missing. Now, we don't, if they're little, we don't take them there if they're not ready. But just the fact that they are wondering, about it is enough at the beginning. Because if we try to explain what I was trying to explain with the adding, subtracting, and all this stuff, some kids may get it, and then some kids may get confused. Right? And it's important that maybe they're just not cognitively ready for that. They need a little bit more time for them to be ready for that type of instruction. And sometimes we as parents just want to take them there, like, let me just show you this. It's okay. In a year or so, they'll come and ask you because they're going to be confused. And then you can have these conversations with them a lot. And quizás los niños no están listos o estén listos para los números negativos, ¿no? Pero solamente porque ya tienen la curiosidad de los números negativos, es importante que lo tengan por lo menos en este tiempo, en esta etapa. Si no realmente lo sabemos explicar muy bien, es mejor nomás dejarlo para que el año que viene o el año después, cuando ya quizás crezcan un poquito más y estén más maduros, ya podemos tener esa conversación. Pero la conversación empieza cada vez que uno gasta dinero o agarra dinero, ¿no? Que se le empieza a decir, esos son números negativos, son números positivos. Cada vez que voy a la tienda y le estoy pagando, son números negativos que estoy debiendo. ¿No? Cuando te deben a ti, sabes que te voy a prestar $2, pero me vas a deber. Entonces, es otra vez el concepto de deber, de negativos. Porque cuando te agarres $2, me vas a pagar mis $2 y luego te vas a quedar con tus bienes. La experiencia que tienen los niños, lo mejor que van a entender ese concepto. Lo mejor que lo van a poder entender. Anything else that maybe we notice? Y para aquí sería suficiente. It's be enough for little ones to move on. And again, if they're ready, just like we talked before, there is a number line, and in elementary we only stay on this side, and in secondary we go on that side. We go on the negative side. But remember, there's also numbers in between. Right? There's also a bunch of numbers in between here, which those are the fractions that we talked about. Right? And not just here, but they also live here, and they also live here. Most of the time we think of fractions that are only between 0 and 1. A veces que vemos fracciones que solamente viven entre el 0 y el 1, pero eso no es cierto. Fracciones viven entre todos los números. Viven obviamente entre el 2 y el 3 y el 4, y así vamos viviendo, ¿no? Puedes tener 2 pizzas completas más una parcial. Sería un ejemplo, ¿no? No siempre nomás tienes una parcial de una pizza. Que otra cosa es, ya tiene que reconocer esos números. Right? So, eso es donde vamos. La idea básica de quitar, de subtraction, es, empiezas con 3, le quitas 1, ¿cuántos me quedan? ¿No? Y eso se aprende desde el comienzo, desde el kinder. Desde el kinder, la idea básica of subtraction is taught. You have so many, you take away, you have how many left. And that is, it doesn't change. right? It doesn't change because they get older. The only thing that changes is the numbers. We're talking about decimals, or we're talking about, you know, fractions, or we're talking about whole numbers, or integers, which would be the positive, negative stuff. All right, so that's the only thing that may change. Now, once they understand that idea, we give them something like this, you know, and we ask them, well, this picture represents which of these statements here? Again, still in kinder. And then they would tell us which one is modeled here, which says we had what? 4, and we took away 1. Oh, I like that. You could see it as taking away 1, right? Well, I see it as taking away kind of 3. Very good observation. I would have been, oh, that's cool. But to me, you know, I would have, because that's the only one that's here that's valid. All right, and they practice. We give them these linking cues. We give them the little, you know, ties, the money. We can practice with money. We can practice with a lot of things. Giving them some and then taking some away. And we continue to do that same pattern again and again. Once they understand that, we go to something that I added this year, so it's kind of new. So we sometimes ask our kids here, this is in 2nd grade. It's so small, I can barely see it. And the question is, I don't want you to use the algorithm. No algorithm. It says, using mental math, I want you to solve this subtraction with no algorithm. Okay, up to this point, we haven't taught them algorithm that much. This is before that is introduced. So how do you think they'll solve it? And I'll give you a couple of minutes so you can kind of draw your ideas and how you might want to do it. But, no. So again, I'm going to say one more time, we tell the students, because they don't know. All right? They don't know to do this. They don't know to do that. They haven't been taught that. So how do they still subtract without knowing this? Racists would know. How do you do it without? And all they know is we have this and we take things away.
Ya mi mente está acostumbrada a hacer esto.
Así es que. Over here, 56.
No, that one, 60.
Oh, to what number?
50. No, because it borrowed too, so it's 54.
Okay, thank you. So if you're going to add 2 here, you need to take 2 away from here. That's what she's saying. These are called friendly numbers or friendlier numbers. So the answer would be
14.
14? But is that right?
No.
No, it's not right.
Entonces sería el 56 a
Es que
60.
estamos quitando, y cuando quitamos 2, estamos agregando 2. Okay, so again, I would just let, if this was the first time they do it, I just let them do it, and it's okay. But remember, igual como hablamos anteriormente, es importante de que los niños aprendan lo que están haciendo, ¿no? Para que puedan corregir lo que pueden hacer.
Entonces sería el 56 a 60.
No.
Okay,
le
okay,
quitan
I'm gonna go with your route.
A ver,
Teresa
si
Teresa
sale.
dice, quiero hacer el 56 a 60.
Ajá. Y el 38 a 40.
Ah, pero aquí
Lo
agregó
subes.
¿cuántos? 4.
Ahí le subes, abajo le subes, pero luego le quitas. No, ni yo no me entiendo.
Entonces, de
A
aquí
ver.
para acá,
Ajá.
subimos 4 más.
Ajá.
Entonces, si le subo 4 más, serían que 42, ¿no? 42.
No, pero abajo no le subes nada más 2.
Pero si le pongo 4 y le sumo 2, no va a ser igual.
No. Ay, no.
La idea que dio ella está bien, nada más que en lugar de
A ver.
restarle al 56 era sumarle a 58 y al otro a 40.
Ah, 50.
Ahí va.
Este es 58
Así.
Y ahora
En vez de
sí el
que era
resultado
20,
es-
nada más, sí, 18.
18. Pero el problema, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué aquí
Porque
le
no pueden
quitó y aquí
explicar.
le sumó?
Porque como es resta, pues, nada más para redondear el 38 a 40 para que se me hiciera más fácil.
Es que aquí cuando ustedes le estás agregando 2 más, realmente le estás quitando 2 más. You're not adding more, you're
grande.
subtracting 2.
Ajá.
Por eso tienes que agregar los 2 acá. Ajá.
So you're adding both to both.
So in this case, you're subtracting 2. So in order for you to, okay, so think of this. Think of this as a balance, ¿no? Si aquí tengo 50 y 50, si le pongo 2, le tengo que poner 2 acá.
Y después se lo sumo.
Si le sumo los 2, le pongo que sumar los 2.
Que es más fácil ver como 40.
Y yo no veo diferencia.
Okay. I'll let you guys continue to develop it. Just kind of mental math, nothing else. Just mental math. I kind of like the 62, but I'll wait. I'll wait to see how that one's going to go.
Oh my gosh.
The ones over here, and then you're adding it to the 6, so that's why you have 16 ones now, because you're technically in the ones place. And because they don't understand that, they can't then apply it somewhere else. So the traditional way of teaching it will come up, and I'm saying that they will be taught that way. But at the beginning, they are not taught that way. At the beginning, they're just taught, here's the big idea. Let's talk about how we can apply this idea multiple ways. Let's see how different people, do it. From Caesar, Nick, Callie, all, just tell me how to do it. And then we have all these strategies, and then we go from there. Yes, you have a question?
For me, I had the same question I remember as a kid, when I was in high school, and my math teacher told me that we just want you to figure out. It applies you, make you think about things in different ways too, not just math, but it helps you figure out how to do this. Is there another way to do this? Is there another way to figure out this problem? It just opens up our brains to more possibilities, and that just made sense to me. Like, okay, that makes sense. You're just giving me more roads to get there. The question is, which road do I take? And sometimes I take the good road or the middle or harder road, but it still makes my brain figure it out. And I thought it was
And again, we try, we try not just like I've been trying here, where I could have just came up here and said, oh, here's another way, 1, check. Here's another way, 2. Here's 3. Here's another one, 4. It has nothing to do with me. We're trying to put it on them. Right? And as a teacher, I may have already seen them all. There's another 2 that I probably could do, but I'm choosing not to. And the reason I'm choosing not to is because I don't know if I'm going to confuse some of you. So, and that's important as a teacher to understand that too. And sometimes we just want to well, let me give you another one, and then let me give you another one. No. If Caesar and Lupita, and if they told me, then yes, let's talk about it and let's fix it. Exactly, right here. Let's fix the problem, because we want to fix problems. But I won't introduce new things until somebody brings it up. If I put this later on, and somebody gives me another one, we'll say, see, now we have another strategy. It might get charted somewhere. It might be called, Caesar's strategy of the day or whatever that is. You have a question or a comment?
Well, no, it's kind of following up what he said. A lot of the strategies I'm learning now that I didn't even know it. And, I think it's confusing for us as adults to incorporate them because we have the one way of doing the math that when we have to learn another way, it's so confusing. At least for me it is. But I've noticed that with my kids, they each pick a strategy that works for them. And I might find it more confusing, but it actually facilitates the math for them in that sense. So I personally don't like core math. I think it's too much. But I see the concept of it where you are introducing different ways of doing the same problem. And one way helps, my oldest son, and a totally different way helps my middle son. So I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. So I think for me as a grown-up, it's like, oh my God, I have to learn something else, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But for them, when they find the strategy that works for them, it makes my job easier, because then I'm like, okay, they get it.
Well, it's kind of hard because she'll come home and she'll forget how did she do the process, and we gotta figure it ourselves. So that's why we have to go on YouTube and see how they show it there to figure it out.
And relearn it, right?
Yeah, because even tell my wife and we go, we'll see how she thinks she can do it, I'll see how I think we can do it, find out which is the.
I would start exactly how I started with you guys. Just put the problem back up and then have her do the problem again. It's like, let's not worry about what the teacher wrote. Let's not worry about that strategy. Let's talk about how you are gonna solve it. What makes sense to you? You know, and then let him or her, do it again. And because if they discover the connection, it's theirs. They're not gonna forget it. So I would just say, let's just forget about that strategy. Let's think about just solving the problem. Because I don't know what grade are we talking about?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade? So they do a lot of decimals and fractions, and I don't know what they're
They're
doing right
not in
now.
there yet.
Oh, they're not there, okay. So I know they're juicing.
When my son was in, I think it was fourth grade, he came home and he had a problem, and I told him how I was taught. He's like, no, Mom, it's core math. I'm like, what's the difference? I didn't know. Now he has to help my daughter with her homework because I don't know understand. I don't know. And he's like, no, it's like this, and I'm like, you're doing it. It seems like they're doing it the longer way to get the same answer that we got when we were kids, the shorter way.
And trust me, we want them to get to the answer as quickly as possible too, but not yet. We want them to understand the idea first. And
I
then-
think for us it's a hard concept because it's beginning for us, so maybe the next day she'll figure it out a lot easier, maybe because
So
we're
we're
doing it.
No, I'm gonna be, I'll show my vulnerability. When I started, presenting some of this stuff, I just did the algorithm. I mean, Teresa said right away, I can only do it this way. That's it. And I was like, oh, I agree with her. I would have just done it the algorithm. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm taking away the 8 from 6. You know what I mean? And I'm borrowing in my head. That's what I was doing. And I was like, there's another way you could do this? Really? I did not know. But as I seen students and teachers and other people, that's why I said, I'm gonna learn math from you guys. Because hopefully I was gonna get a new strategy and I could say, hey, I got another one. And I can use that next time I present it, somebody else brings it up, because that's important. Now, one thing that I stressed right from the beginning is the answer has to be right, all right? And this is why we said, well, this is something's wrong because it was 16 and we knew the answer was 18. But the kid may not have known the answer was 18. He would have just continued doing it, and we have to fix it. We have to deal with it at some point as a teacher. You have a question?
Yo creo que estamos aprendiendo junto con los niños,
Claro que sí.
porque yo antes no le veía mucha importancia a todo ese desglose que se hace. Me enojaba porque ni yo lo entendía. Pero ahora veo lo bueno porque se le está dando otra forma de resolver un problema hasta que viene.
Ah, qué bueno. Gracias por venir entonces. You had a question? Or
So this
comment?
kind of goes with what Ita said, what Caesar said. Right now, unfortunately, we're a difficult group of parents. We are in the generation where change is happening. So if you remember last session before, our educational system is moving from that Taylorist viewpoint where all we want are kids who can compute, follow instructions, do what they need to do. We don't really want free thinkers. We just want you to be able to go to a factory, work, produce, read, whatever. And now we're moving towards, let's create humans who are critical thinkers, problem solvers, think outside the box. We're now embracing that type of an education. So for us, we were taught just do the algorithm, shut up, do the math, get the answer, done. We're shifting from that type of an educational viewpoint to, what are all the other ways we can do it? Dana, you solved it this way, but look, grease. I wasn't sure what the grease solves it this way. I mean, that's what we're embracing now. So it's hard for us because we were taught the old way. But after our generation, it should be a lot easier for like our children and their children, And we're just in that weird kind of move point of.
I remember 20 plus years ago when I started teaching, some kid would bring a different way that he solved the problem. And as a teacher, if you weren't familiar with it, you would look at it and go, oh, that's interesting, and then kind of move on without really exploring why it worked. without saying, oh, why did it work? Why is it that he or she is saying that this applies and works every single time?
Mhm.
Because again, we were still in that traditional mindset of, I have to show them these steps, you know, scaffold, 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 step, 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 and then you get an answer. Step, 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 you get an answer. And that's what we have kind of are undoing right now as much as we can, where we do want the flexibility of kids to do it a certain way, uniquely theirs, but at the same time, also trying to get to the right answer as quickly as possible. But we want them to understand the big idea. So that's kind of the shift. I'm gonna move on because I know some of you are parents and you guys are very busy, and I don't want to keep you guys longer than what we need to. Decimals is just like we talked before for addition. It's just as long as they are lining things up and doing that correctly, they get it right. But really, I see this problem more as a money problem. So I'm going to encourage you guys to kind of play with the money and think of this as, you know, $14.20 minus $8.63, and kind of model what you think your child would do to get the correct answer. So hopefully there's enough money. If not, we have plenty over here. All that stuff that you would normally just do it with your, they got to do it with paper here. They get to do it with
And isn't money a great way to teach decimals though, because it's such a real world application? They're interested in it. They know they want more of it.
If we do this for the first time, they might be stuck. Because how many times do they need to borrow here? Let's just assume a whole bunch, no? They have to borrow a lot to do this problem. Yeah, see, unique. And that's a big unique quarter. Let's get to some quarters. You think you're fine? Okay.
If you do need more change, please raise your hand. I have more bags.
So they would convert this into 2 5s, no? So this would be a 5 and a 5. Get rid of the $10 bill. And because I need 63 cents, I need to convert this dollar, right, into 4 quarters. I mean, I guess I can start with 4 quarters. But right away, when you convert it into 4 quarters, you're not going to be able to take away the what?
3.
The 3. So you'll be able to take away the 60 right here. The 60, but me quedan 3 more that I take away. So then I have to convert the dime into
A 5 and
to 10 pennies or a 5, right? I can do a 5 and then 5 more pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can take away 63. All of those are gone. And again, this one was converted, so that's no longer there. Now I can try to take away what I need. $10. $5.67 That's what that says. No. Is that right?
57. I got 557.
No, it's 57.
What did I do? What did I do wrong? Show me what I did wrong.
Oh, because you didn't cross
Oh,
the
because
top.
I didn't cross this out.
Yeah,
You kids do this all the
at the
time?
bottom.
This 10 became what? 5. So this one was out too. Converted. So this is 557. Again, with kids, when they convert, take it out. Right? Because as I was looking at you guys' work, you guys had pennies here, and dimes here. I kind of was getting all confused. So the best thing to do is if I'm going to convert this 10, take the 10 out and bring the 2 5. Take the quarters out and convert them. Because this way they won't get confused. Make sure that you literally take them.
And that would be algebraic thinking, right? And on like you want to have to do the opposite action, if you will.
Sí, porque
And this is very, as you can
Los
see,
siete
this took
centavos.
some time, but it would have been very boring if I just said, put a 0. You can't take away, you can't take away, you have to draw all the way from here to a 0. Then it's a 14. Then it's a 13. Then it's a, no, and then it's an 11. Then that's a 10. Then it's a 7. Then that's a 5. And then the decimal point. Make sure you align it, I would tell kids. And then 5. That doesn't come close to all the cool stuff that you're teaching your child when they get to play with money. They get to actually feel the conversion. I am converting that 10 into dollars, into quarters, into nickels. They can clearly see how you are borrowing from whatever you're borrowing before. And that's exactly what we want the kids to understand. We are borrowing, changing, converting. The quantity is the same. It's still the same amount of money. It just looks different. Right? It just looks different. Sometimes you might carry a 20. Sometimes you might carry, 21s. Or whatever the case is. Now, if you're like most guys, we put all the ones inside and the 20s outside. So when we pull out the money, the girls think we have a lot of money. Okay, so again, really cool. Try it. Buy some of these dollar thingies or coins from the dollar store or wherever. I'm still working on trying to get you guys some stuff. Salud. $5.50. Again, it's important that los niños reconozcan place value, words, things. We could go this way, and this is how most teachers do it, right? They just kind of put it up, and then they borrow it, do all this other stuff. Talking about algebra, and this is what we've been doing in algebra, is this minus what gives me 62 is what the question is asking you. And anytime you have an unknown, you are really dealing with algebraic skills. And we kind of did this the first session, if you were here on September 24th, and we used the program. I don't know if you remember the program, where we did the bars and the squares for hundreds and ones and tens. But if not, let's see how you would do those.
This is where it becomes that's what it is. But they're doing that without having to see. I know for a lot of kids, their affective filter or their anxiety goes up as soon as they see this, because they're like, whoa, that's like a language I don't even understand. But if we pose it like this, go, hey, what is that? Oh, okay, I think I can figure this out. But it's just algebra. It's building that algebraic thinking.
Now the first one's pretty straightforward. 8 minus what gives you 2? The answer should be 4. And they can tell you that, right? I got 6 little ones, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6. I have to end up with 2. So how many did I take away? 4. No, they can do that. Then I have 8 bars. Bars, remember, those were tens. And I'm taking it. I have to have 6 left, so I have to take away 2. I right, so that one's pretty straightforward. How about 19 and 20? Same thing, pretty, yeah. Okay, how about 20? I guess we can go to 20. And see how your kids can do this. They can just think about hundreds, right? Hundreds, blah, blah, blah. This is what I have to be left with. This is what I'm taking away. Right? And again, if you were here the first session, we would have said, you know, I guess we can use Nikki's way. I mean, we said 300, right? Plus 70 plus 20. We're taking away what? But we have to end up with 200 plus 40 plus 0 here. And
The 20 should be 2.
just the 2. We have to end up with that kind of idea.